Hi, my name's Alea and I'm a psychotherapist at My Therapy NYC. Today, I'm going to touch on a guide to dating during a pandemic. I will discuss some common fears that people have, which are normal and to be expected. I will also touch on reasons why you shouldn't force yourself to date, especially if you're not ready to do so. However, if you are, we'll also touch on some ways to date safely, which is also very important, and ways to focus on building an emotional bond with someone, especially when the rules are around quarantine and social distancing. So, there are many fears around dating during a pandemic, and this is completely normal. One of these fears includes feelings of isolation. It's been reported that in the US, there are 37.5 million people that lived alone prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. Loneliness and isolation have been linked to mental and physical health risks that should not be ignored. Some of the most prevalent being heart disease, anxiety, and depression. One of the other common fears I've noticed within my individual sessions with clients is the fear of wasting time. They feel that the pandemic rules of quarantine as well as social distancing is blocking them from meeting potential partners and by default putting their futures on hold. This can put individuals at risk for feeling a pressure to date even if they're not ready to. This brings me to one of the most important rules of dating during a pandemic. Don't force yourself to date if you are not ready or feel pressure to do so out of feeling lonely. This is usually in the form of swiping on dating apps, which can be so easy to engage in right now as we feel we have the time to do so. But it's important to keep in mind that dating is not some sort of assignment that we have to cross off our to-do list. In other words, social distancing, quarantine, this is all new for us, and it's important to really make sure that we're ready to take on some sort of dating scene before pushing ourselves to do so. Take some time to reflect. Be authentic with yourself. Where do you currently stand with your anxiety levels? Are you ready to date? If so, I would go so far as to ask yourselves, what are the reasons you are ready to date? What are the goals? What are you hoping to get out of this dating scene? Really be authentic with where that's coming from. The next point I would like to touch on is the fear of being around others during a pandemic, especially when it's suggested that you stay physically distant from others. Through research, it's been suggested that the first thing to keep in mind is that panic will not make you feel safer. The second thing to do would be to take some common sense approaches to reduce your risk of exposure. This could look like making sure that you continue to wear a mask if you do decide to meet a date in person. Go for a walk in an open area where you can see people at a distance that makes you feel comfortable. Also, if you are engaging in socially distant friend or family meetups, continue to utilize the boundaries that you've set there with other people. The last thing to do would be to educate yourself on the most up-to-date information about the virus. If nothing else, it's perfectly okay to keep your dates virtual until you are ready and feel comfortable to meet someone in person. It's been studied that having virtual dates can in fact be more beneficial and intimate overall. In an article done by Susie Weiss for the New York Post, she found that people reported video dating forces you to be more attentive and listen to the other person in ways traditional dating may not. There are typically less distractions, and it takes genuine interest to continue a conversation virtually. Have you ever felt like someone was not interested but continued to engage with you anyway? This is much harder to do so virtually. People reported being able to discontinue engagements that were not working a lot sooner than had they been in a traditional dating scene. This brings me to, how do we focus on building that emotional connection when you can't physically be with someone? Throughout this pandemic, we have found that we are all connected in some way by the changes we have experienced and continue to adjust to as this year progresses. A psychologist in Chicago, Roxy Zarabi, found that during a crisis, people are often reminded of the fleeting nature of life, and as a result, may simultaneously feel a loss of control and an increase in vulnerability. People crave social connection and are more likely to drop their defenses when feeling vulnerable, particularly if they perceive that this is a shared experience. It's been found that we can develop an emotional bond more quickly with others when going through a painful or adverse experience together. Research has demonstrated that experiencing a stressful event can encourage pro-social behavior and strengthen your bond with others. may also be easy to use the changes that the pandemic has brought into our lives as a built-in icebreaker. But overall, you will both be in a place where you're able to connect in ways that you may not have expected. As you build a connection, it's really important to have fun and be creative with these dates. Try things like cooking a meal together with things found in your kitchen, go on a wine tour, or even a book tour around your apartment. You can watch movies together, have a virtual game night, or even go on a picnic in your living room or backyard. The best thing to do is to think outside the box. The possibilities are really endless. As dating during a pandemic is still new for all of us, I'm sure you may have experienced some things that worked really well for you, and I would love to hear all about it. Join the conversation by commenting on this blog post in the comment section below. For more information, check out our website at mytherapynyc.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.